and Tel Aviv now faces the bitter truth. The confrontation is no longer a mere exchange of fire, but has transformed into a war of minds and a deadly attrition. Iran today unveiled its new strategy, which has confounded both Israeli and American defenses. The objective is no longer simply to activate air raid sirens, but to flood the skies with intense and devastating barrages that overwhelm the interception system's ability to track them. The results have been catastrophic. Reports from inside Israel speak of a true tragedy in the shelters. The shelters to which thousands fled seeking safety have become death traps due to direct hits. Dozens have been killed and wounded, and the shock has shaken the Israeli public's confidence in its air defenses, which stood helpless before the intensity of the Iranian fire. It is a relentless deluge of missiles. The barrages are no longer random, but rather calculated strikes aimed at penetrating the very core of the nation. While Israel tries to absorb the shock and investigate in its aerial failures, Tehran continues to inject more ballistic missiles into the veins of this war. The entire region is no longer watching from afar. Everyone is now inside the arena, and the countdown to something worse has already begun. The time for warnings is over, and the howling of fire is now heard. The skies of the region are being torn apart, and the rules of the game are being crushed under the feet of missiles. Israel is experiencing its most terrifying night in its history. The most lethal Iranian fragmentation missiles are now striking Tel Aviv, Bnei Brak, and Ramat Gan. These are missiles that don't just explode, they fragment in the sky, spreading death and fire over entire neighborhoods, leaving air defense systems completely paralyzed. Washington didn't wait. It issued immediate evacuation orders for its citizens from 15 Middle Eastern countries, including Egypt, Yemen, and the Gulf states. While reports loom of Patriot missile stockpiles running low in the region, Donald Trump issues a statement that freezes the blood in veins. The major strike has not yet begun. Iran promises endless waves of retaliation and speaks of hundreds of dead and wounded among American forces, while enemy aircraft penetrate deep into Iranian territory with unprecedented audacity. The entire region is now falling into a black hole, and events are accelerating beyond comprehension. While ballistic missiles were tearing through the interior, a new threat has emerged, creeping beneath radar. The skies of northern Israel are now turning into a terrifying aerial pursuit. Swarms of drones penetrate the airspace, manipulating defense systems and hiding behind mountain peaks to swoop down like hawks on their targets. Kiryat Shmona, Metula, and Haifa are all under the weight of incessant sirens. Breaking news reports speak of massive explosions that shook the vicinity of Kiryat Shmona after a failure radars intercept one of these drones. Smoke rises and confusion reigns in the Israeli Air Force, which is finding it extremely difficult to shoot down these flying ghosts over populated areas. Do you remember the drone that reached Netanyahu's bedroom? It seems the scenario is repeating itself now, but with greater intensity and more vital military targets. It's the new balance of terror, destructive missiles on one side and suicide drones on the other. While Israel prepares to deploy 100,000 soldiers to the Lebanese front, the evil festering on the home front is increasing, where cries of aid shortages and economic collapse are rising from the rubble. Meanwhile, airstrikes continue to target Sidon and the Lebanese interior, amidst American preparations for its citizens to leave the region immediately before the fronts explode completely. Are we facing a long war of attrition, or are these drones merely a prelude to a ground storm? The region will be engulfed. Stay with us, for the pursuit continues. The skies are still ablaze, and the event is creeping towards the point of no return. The barrier of silence has been shattered, and death has reached the pavements in an escalation that is the most bloody and blatant. Channel 10 in Israel now admits that Iranian missiles have directly struck the heart of Greater Tel Aviv. It is no longer just an interception in the sky, but a confirmed fall of warheads on 3 strategic and sensitive sites. Destruction fills the streets of Gan and Bnei Brak, where cars have turned into pieces of burning metal, and residential buildings in Petah Tikva have been partially damaged. Israeli ambulances are in a state of shock as news arrives of critical injuries among settlers who did not have time to reach shelters. Black smoke covers the sky of the center, and sirens wailed suddenly and thunderously without any prior warning this time, which confused millions and instilled terror in their hearts. Loudspeakers are still screaming in settlements surrounding Jerusalem. Take shelter. Danger is coming from the sky. It's the cluster missile again. The weapon that spreads death equally over scattered cities with a single strike. Israel, which used to boast of its defenses, stands helpless today before the accuracy of the strikes and the multitude of targeted sites. Has the round ended, or is what fell today merely the prelude to the great storm that has yet to begin? Stay with us as the coverage intensifies and the truth emerges from beneath the surface in Tel Aviv. The era of neutrality is over, and the earthquake has reached the heart of the Gulf. Now, in a terrifying and sudden development, Reuters reports massive explosions shaking the economic and decision-making capitals of Abu Dhabi and Dubai. The scene is no longer confined to a single front. While interceptor missiles were tearing through the skies of Doha, fires were raging in vital joints within the Emirates. The entire region is ablaze, and the cross-border fires are consuming all opportunities for de-escalation. Tehran has decided to draw everyone into the conflict, the abyss. The new military doctrine is as clear as day. If Iran burns, let everyone around it burn, as long as the regime's existence is at stake. The simultaneous attacks on Qatar and the UAE are not mere political messages, but rather a declaration of the beginning of a phase of ferocity and raising the cost of war for the entire world, economically and militarily. On the other side, Israel continues its strategy of decapitation and strikes at the heart of the Iranian system, targeting decision-making and leadership centers in Qom and Tehran. The sky can no longer contain the missiles, and the land is becoming too small for its inhabitants, who are fleeing in every direction, while swarms of missiles loom on the horizon, the merciless annihilation. Washington orders immediate evacuation, and the Gulf suddenly finds itself in the heart of the inferno. Are we facing a great collapse, or will the world witness the birth of a new regional order from the ashes? Stay with us as coverage continues from the heart of the storm, and the event surpasses all expectations.